Dr. Choi Minho was running down the long underground tunnel that led to his secret laboratory. His white coat was flying behind him and his glasses kept sliding down his nose. He had been working for 3 days without sleep and his eyes were red and tired, but he could not stop now, not when. Earth had less than 40 hours left. The laboratory was hidden 2 miles under the ground in South Korea. It was so secret that only 5 people in the whole world knew it existed. The elevator took 2 minutes to go all the way down. When the doors opened, Choi Minho ran to his workbench, where the most important machine in human history was waiting. The machine was not very big. It was about the size of a refrigerator and it glowed with blue light inside, but this small machine could power weapons that would make the aliens very sorry. They came to Earth. The machine was called a quantum fusion reactor, and Choi Minho had been working on it for 10 years. He had started building it after his daughter died in a car accident. He was so sad and angry that he wanted to build something that would protect other people from ever being hurt again. He never thought he would need it to fight aliens from space, but here he was. The reactor was almost finished, but there was still one big problem. The power core kept getting too hot and shutting down. If it shut down during a battle, then Earth would lose and everyone would die. Choi Minho wiped the sweat from his face and started working again. Far but above him in the cold darkness of space, Lieutenant Han Yujin was flying her small scout ship toward the alien fleet. She was not supposed to be there. The generals had told all the pilots to stay away from the alien ships, but Han Yujin did not like following orders when those orders were stupid. Her ship was very small and painted black so the aliens could not see it easily. She flew between the asteroids and used them to hide from the alien sensors. She wanted to see the alien ships up close and find out how strong they really were. As she got closer to the alien fleet, Han Yujin could not believe how big the ships were. The smallest alien ship was bigger than Earth's biggest building. The largest alien ship was so big that it had its own weather system with clouds floating around it. She took pictures with her camera and recorded everything she saw. The alien ships had thick armor and big guns that could probably destroy a city with one shot. But Han Yujin noticed something interesting. The ships were old, very old. They had been patched and repaired many times. Some of the armor had rust on it, and some of the weapons looked like they had not been used in a long time. Maybe the aliens were not as strong as they wanted everyone to think. Maybe they were just bullies who picked on weak planets. Han Yujin smiled as she took more pictures. This information could help Earth fight back, but then something bad happened. One of the alien ships suddenly turned and pointed its guns at the asteroid belt where Han Yujin was hiding. The ship fired a beam of red light that cut through 3 asteroids like they were made of paper. The asteroids exploded into dust and rocks. Han Yujin knew she had been spotted. She pushed her engines to full power and flew away as fast as she could. More red beams shot past her ship. The aliens were trying to kill her, but she was too small and too fast. As she flew back toward Earth, she heard something on the radio that made her heart stop. The aliens were attacking the mining colony on Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. The colony had 5,000 people living there. They were miners and scientists and their families. They had no weapons and no way to fight back. The alien ships surrounded the colony and started shooting. Han Yujin listened to the radio messages from the colony. The people were screaming and crying. They were begging for help, but there was nothing anyone could do. The Earth defense ships were too far away. Then the radio went quiet. The alien commander sent another message to Earth. "We told you that you had 72 hours to surrender. This is what happens when you do not listen. We destroyed your colony to show you that we are serious. You now have 36 hours left to surrender, or we will destroy another colony back on Earth." People were watching the news on television. They saw pictures of the destroyed colony on Europa. They saw the floating pieces of buildings and the frozen bodies of people who had been killed. Surgeon Bae Haijin was watching the news in the military base cafeteria. She was eating lunch when the pictures came on the screen. At first she did not understand what she was seeing. Then she saw a picture of her sister and her sister's 2 children. They had been living on Europa. Her sister was a doctor and her children were only 6 and 8 years old. The spoon fell from Bae Haijin's hand and clattered on the floor. She stared at the television screen and felt something break inside her heart. Her sister had always taken care of her when they were children. Her sister had helped her pay for military school. Her sister's children used to call her Aunt Bae and ask her to tell them stories about being a soldier. Now they were all dead, killed by aliens who thought humans were just animals to be stepped on. Bae Haijin stood up from the table. She walked out of the cafeteria and went to her room. She opened her locker and took out her rifle. She checked to make sure it was clean and loaded. Then she walked to the training room where other soldiers were practicing. "Who wants to learn how to kill aliens?" she asked. Every soldier in the room raised their hand. All over Earth people were having the same reaction. They were not scared anymore. They were angry, very angry. The aliens had made a big mistake. They thought killing innocent people would make humans afraid. Instead, it made humans furious. In his underground laboratory, Dr. Choi Minho heard about the attack on Europa. He thought about all the children who had died and he felt his hands start to shake with anger. He looked at his quantum fusion reactor and made a decision. He was going to make it work, even if it killed him, even if he had to work for 36 hours straight without stopping, even if his hands bled and his eyes went blind. He was going to finish this machine because The aliens were going to pay for what they did. They were going to learn that humans were not sheep to be slaughtered. They were going to learn that when you hurt a human's family, you wake up something very dangerous. Da Choi Minho rolled up his sleeves and got back to work. The reactor hummed and glowed and waited to become a weapon of revenge. The aliens that thought they had sent a message of fear, but they had actually lit a fire that would burn across the galaxy. The war was about to begin. Major Oh Sung-ho crouched behind a broken piece of concrete on the surface of the moon and watched the alien landing ships coming down from the sky like deadly metal rain. The aliens had decided to invade the moon bases because they thought that would be easy to capture them. They were wrong. Oh Sung-ho had been preparing the moon's defense for 3 years. Every crater had been turned into a fortress. Every tunnel had been filled with weapons. Every rock had been placed to create the perfect battlefield. The aliens were walking into a trap. His radio crackled with the voice of his sister, Dr. Oh Myung, who was controlling the orbital weapons from the asteroid belt. Brother, I can see 12 alien troop ships landing near your position. She said each ship has about 200 alien soldiers. Good, Oh Sung-ho replied. That means we will have plenty of targets. The first alien soldiers came out of their ships, wearing heavy armor and carrying energy weapons. They moved slowly across the moon's surface in formation like they had done this 1,000 times before on 1,000 different worlds. Oh Sung-ho waited until they were in the perfect position. Then he pressed a button. That moon's surface exploded under the aliens' feet. Hidden mines that had been buried for years suddenly went off, sending aliens flying through the low gravity. The aliens who survived the explosions found themselves trapped in a maze of trenches and barriers. Human soldiers popped up from hidden bunkers and began shooting. The aliens were surprised by how fierce the humans fought. Every human soldier fought like they had nothing to lose because they really had nothing to lose. If Earth fell, then everyone they loved would die. The battle on the moon was brutal, but it was not the only battle happening in space. Captain Shin Bora was flying her heavy cruiser straight toward the biggest alien ship in the fleet. Her ship was called the Indomitable, and it was the pride of Earth's space navy, but now it was badly damaged and most of her crew was dead. The alien flagship was enormous. It was 5 miles long and covered with weapons that could destroy planets, but Shinbora had noticed something important during the battle. The flagship's main weapon had a weak spot. If someone could fly a ship directly into the weapon's power core, the entire ship would explode. The problem was that flying into the power core meant certain death for whoever did it. Shinbora looked around her bridge at the few crew members who were still alive. They were all young people with families and futures ahead of them. She could not ask them to die with her. Go to the escape pods, she ordered them. But Captain, we want to stay with you, said her weapons officer. That is an order, Shinbora said. Go now and tell everyone what happened here today. Tell them that Earth does not surrender. The crew reluctantly went to the escape pods, leaving Shinbora alone on the bridge. She set the ship's course for the alien flagship and pushed the engines to maximum power as the Indomitable flew toward the enemy ship. Alien weapons fired at it from every direction. The ship's armor was torn apart and fires started in the engine room, but Shinbora kept flying forward. The alien commander on the flagship finally realized what the human was trying to do. He ordered all weapons to focus on the approaching Earth ship, but it was too late. Shinbora smiled as her ship entered the alien flagship's weapon array. She thought about her daughter who was safe in a bunker on Earth. She thought about all the children who would grow up free because of what she was about to do. Tell my daughter I love her, she said into her radio. Then the Indomitable crashed into the alien flagship's power core and both ships disappeared in a ball of nuclear fire that could be seen from Earth. The explosion was so big that it damaged 6 other alien ships and sent shockwaves through the entire fleet. The aliens had never seen anything like it. They could not understand why a human would sacrifice herself just to destroy one enemy ship, but the humans understood, and that made them fight even harder. All across the solar system, human soldiers were making the same choice. When alien boarding parties captured human ships, the humans would blow up their own ships rather than let the aliens have them. When human bases were about to be overrun, the defenders would detonate all their ammunition and take as many aliens with them as possible. Every human death cost the aliens dearly. The aliens were used to fighting enemies who surrendered when things got difficult, but humans got more dangerous when things got difficult. Diaro Myung watched from her command center in the asteroid belt. As the battle reports came in, the humans were outnumbered 10-1, but they were winning. She coordinated orbital strikes on alien ships while tears ran down her face because her brother had just died defending the moon base, but she did not stop fighting. She could cry later when all the aliens were dead. That nanobots that engineer Yunara had released were now eating through dozens of alien ships. The aliens tried everything to stop them, but the nanobots were too small to see and too numerous to kill. Entire alien battleships were falling apart as their hulls were consumed from the inside. The quantum fusion reactors that Dr. Choi Minho had built were powering massive energy weapons that could crack alien ships in half with a single shot. The aliens had never seen weapons with so much power. Their own shields were useless, but the most terrifying thing for the aliens was not the human weapons, it was the way humans fought. When an alien soldier was wounded, he would retreat and wait for medical help. When a human soldier was wounded, he would keep fighting until he died. When an alien ship was damaged, it would pull back for repairs. When a human ship was damaged, it would ram into the nearest alien ship the aliens fought to conquer. The humans fought to survive and protect their families. There was a big difference. The alien commander sent another desperate message to his superiors. The humans are not behaving like a normal species, he reported. They fight with a fury I have never seen. They seem to prefer death to surrender. I request immediate reinforcement of 50 additional fleets, but the message would take months to reach the alien homeworld and the battle would be over long before help could arrive. As the hours passed, more and more alien ships were destroyed. The humans lost many ships too, but every human ship took 3 or 4 alien ships with it. The math was simple. If the battle continued like this, the aliens would lose. Night fell on Earth, but the battle continued in space. People on the ground could see the explosions and laser beams lighting up the sky like a deadly fireworks show. Children watched from bunker windows as their parents fought for their future. The fire that had started in human hearts when the aliens killed the people on Europa was now burning across the entire solar system. It was a fire that the aliens could not put out because they did not understand what fed it: love for family, love for home, love for freedom. These were things the aliens had forgotten long ago in their quest to conquer the galaxy, but humans remembered, and that memory was going to destroy the Corvan Empire. Colonel Song Taeyang sat in the dark command center deep under the mountains of Colorado. He was looking at a wall covered with screens that showed secret locations all over the solar system. For 20 years he had been the guardian of humanity's biggest secret, and now it was time to wake up. The sleeping dragon Project Inferno had been started after humans first discovered they were not alone in the universe. Scientists had found radio signals from alien civilizations far away. The signals were not friendly. They were reports of conquered worlds and destroyed species, so Earth had begun to prepare in secret. Song Taeyang pressed his hand on a scanner and spoke his password. The computer recognized him and asked for final confirmation. To activate Project Inferno, Song Taeyang thought about the dead children on Europa and pressed the button. All across the solar system, hidden weapons came to life. On the dark side of the moon, giant railguns rose from underground bunkers that had been disguised as research stations. The railguns were as long as skyscrapers and could fire metal slugs at nearly the speed of lighting. The asteroid belt mining robots suddenly stopped digging for metals and started building. Instead, they built thousands of missile platforms that looked like ordinary asteroids. Each platform held 50 nuclear missiles on Mars. The terraforming machines stopped making air and started making weapons factories. Robot workers that had been planting trees began assembling fighter ships instead near Jupiter's orbit. The gas mining stations turned into weapons platforms. Their big fuel tanks became fuel for plasma cannons that could melt through any armor. Song Taeyang watched the screens as hundreds of secret weapons revealed themselves. The aliens had thought Earth was defenseless, but humans had been planning for this day for decades. And Nara was working in her laboratory on the space station above Earth. She had been awake for 4 days straight, and her hands were shaking from too much coffee, but she was almost finished with her masterpiece. On her workbench were millions of tiny robots called nanobots. Each nanobot was smaller than a grain of sand, but together they could do amazing things. Nara had programmed them to eat metal and reproduce themselves. They were like a virus that only infected machines. She loaded the nanobots into special containers that looked like space debris. Then she launched them toward the alien fleet. The containers would break open when they got close to the alien ships, and the nanobots would spread like invisible dust. Nanobots would land on the alien ships and start eating the metal hull. They would make copies of themselves and eat more metal. Soon, the alien ships would start falling apart from the inside, and the aliens would not know why. Captain Lim Jae-ho was in the pilot seat of the newest Earth fighter ship. It was called a Fury-class fighter, and it was unlike anything humans had ever built before. The ship was small and fast and covered with armor made from alien materials that Earth had found in crashed meteorites. The Fury fighter had been designed by studying alien technology for years. Human engineers had taken the best ideas from aliens and made them better. The ship could fly faster than any alien ship and turn quicker than any alien pilot could react. Lim Jae-ho was leading a squadron of 50 Fury fighters toward the alien fleet. His pilots were the best in the Earth's military, and they had been training for this moment their whole lives. We are approaching the enemy fleet, Lim Jae-ho said into his radio. Remember what they did to Europa. Remember the children who died. Today we make them pay. Other pilots responded with angry voices full of determination. They were ready to fight. They were ready to die if necessary, but they were going to hurt the aliens first. As the Fury fighters got closer to the alien fleet, the aliens finally noticed them. The alien commander was surprised to see Earth ships approaching. He had expected the humans to surrender by now. The alien ships turned their weapons toward the approaching fighters and began to fire. Red beams of energy shot through space like deadly lightning, but the Fury fighters were too fast and too small. The beams missed their targets. Lim Jae-ho smiled as he flew his ship between the energy beams. He had practiced this maneuver 1,000 times in the simulator, but doing it for real was much more exciting. Fire everything, he shouted into his radio. 50 Fury fighters fired their weapons at the same time. Missiles and plasma bolts and laser beams shot toward the alien ships. The aliens had thick armor, but the human weapons were designed to penetrate alien armor. The first alien ship exploded in a ball of fire and debris. The alien commander could not believe what he was seeing. How could these primitive humans have such advanced weapons? But the battle was just beginning. Across the solar system, the hidden weapons of Project Inferno began to fire the railguns on the moonshot metal slugs at incredible speed. The missile platforms in the asteroid belt launched thousands of nuclear missiles. The plasma cannons near Jupiter began burning holes in alien ships. The aliens found themselves under attack from every direction. They had expected to fight a few small Earth ships, but instead they were fighting an entire solar system that had been turned into a weapon. Nara watched from her space station as her nanobots reached the alien ships. The tiny robots spread across the alien hulls like invisible fog and began eating the metal. The aliens did not know what was happening as their ships started to develop mysterious holes and cracks. Choi Minho finally got his quantum fusion reactor working perfectly. The machine hummed with power and sent energy to the biggest weapons Earth had ever built. Giant energy cannons that had been hidden in asteroids suddenly came online and began charging up. The alien commander sent a desperate message to his home planet. This was not supposed to happen. The humans were supposed to be weak and afraid. Instead, they were fighting like demons and their weapons were incredibly advanced. But the worst surprise was still coming. The humans had one more secret that the aliens did not know about. Humans did not just fight to win battles. Humans fought to protect their families and their children. When someone threatened a human's family, the human became something much more dangerous than a soldier. They became a force of nature that would not stop until every enemy was destroyed. Colonel Song Taeyang watched his screens as the battle raged across the solar system. The aliens were strong, but they were not ready for this. They had never fought an enemy that fought with such fury. This is just the beginning, he said to himself. The aliens wanted to see what humans could do when they were angry. Now they were going to find out. The awakening had begun, and nothing would ever be the same. Commander Park Jinwoo stood at the big window of the space station and looked out at the stars. The station was floating high above Earth, spinning slowly in the dark. The stars looked peaceful like tiny lights in the black sky, but Park Jinwoo knew that peace was about to end forever. His hands were shaking a little as he held the metal cup of hot coffee. The coffee was getting cold, but he did not care. He was thinking about his wife and his 2 children down on Earth. They were probably eating dinner right now and laughing about something funny that happened at school. They had no idea that death was coming from the stars. The alarms started to ring very loud and red lights began flashing everywhere. People started running in the hallways. Park Jinwoo put down his coffee and ran to the control room. His heart was beating very fast. In the control room, dozens of people were sitting at computers and looking at screens. The screens showed numbers and pictures and graphs. Lieutenant Han Yujin was standing next to the biggest screen. Her face was very white and her eyes were wide with fear. Look at this, she said to Park Jinwoo. The screen showed a picture of space near the planet Jupiter, but something was wrong. The space was full of big dark shapes that were not supposed to be there. What are those? Park Jinwoo asked, but he already knew the answer and his heart said. Han Yujin, her voice was very quiet. Alien ships. Hundreds of them. Park Jinwoo felt his stomach drop. Like he was falling. The ships on the screen were huge, much bigger than anything humans had ever built. Each ship was as long as a city and as wide as 10 football fields put together. They were black and had sharp edges like knives. They looked like they were made for war. How many ships are there? Park Jinwoo asked. The computer says 312 ships, Han Yujin said. They just appeared out of nowhere like magic. The computers did not see them coming. Park Jinwoo looked at the screen again. 300 ships full of aliens who had traveled across the galaxy to find Earth, and they were not here to be friends. Get me Admiral Kim Sora on the radio right now, Park Jinwoo said. Han Yujin pressed some buttons and Admiral Kim Sora appeared on another screen. She was sitting in her office on the moonbase. Her gray hair was pulled back and her face looked very serious. Admiral, we have a big problem, Park Jinwoo said. I know, she said. I can see the ships from here too. They are sending us a message. Do you want to hear it? Yes, Park Jinwoo said, but he did not really want to hear it. The screen changed and showed the face of an alien. The alien had blue skin and 4 eyes and a mouth full of sharp teeth. When it spoke, its voice sounded like metal scraping against metal. People of Earth, it said, we are the Corvan Empire. We have conquered 1,000 worlds across the galaxy. Now we have come for your world. Park Jinwoo felt cold all over his body. You have 72 hours to surrender completely. The alien continued, you will give us all your weapons. You will give us all your leaders. You will become slaves to the Corvan Empire. If you do not surrender, we will destroy every city on your planet. We will kill every man, woman, and child. We will turn your world into dust and ash. The alien smiled, and its teeth looked very sharp. We have done this to many worlds before. You cannot fight us. You cannot hide from us. You cannot win. Choose wisely, people of Earth. You have 72 hours. The screen went black. Park Jinwoo stood there for a long time without saying anything. Everyone in the control room was very quiet. They were all thinking about their families and friends down on Earth. Admiral Kim Sora spoke. First, what do we do? Park Jinwoo looked around the room at all the young people who worked on the space station. They were scared, but they were also angry. He could see it in their eyes. We call an emergency meeting, Park Jinwoo said. Get every leader from every country. Get every general and every admiral. Get every scientist who knows about space. Get them all together right now. But what are we going to tell them? Han Yujin asked. We only have 12 Earth defense ships. The aliens have more than 300 ships, each of their ships is bigger and stronger than all of our ships put together. Park Jin-woo walked over to the window and looked down at Earth. The planet looked so beautiful and blue and peaceful. He thought about all the people down there, all the children playing in parks, all the old people sitting on benches, all the mothers and fathers working hard to take care of their families. We are going to tell them the truth, Park Jin-woo said. We are going to tell them that aliens want to make us slaves. We are going to tell them that we have 72 hours to decide. We are going to tell them that we can surrender and live as slaves, or we can fight and maybe die as free people. What do you think people will choose, Admiral? Kim Sora asked. Park Jin-woo smiled, but it was not a happy smile. I think I know what humans will choose, he said. Humans do not like to be slaves. Humans do not like to be told what to do by bullies. Humans get very angry when someone threatens their children. He turned away from the window and looked at everyone in the room. Send the message to every government on Earth, he said. Tell them we need to meet in 1 hour. Tell them the future of humanity depends on what we decide tonight. As people started making phone calls and sending messages, Park Jin-woo looked at the screen showing the alien ships again. The ships were moving closer to Earth very slowly, but they were definitely coming. He thought about his children again and wondered what kind of world they would grow up in. Would they be slaves to aliens? Would they even be alive in 72 hours then? He thought about something his grandfather used to say. His grandfather had been a soldier in a big war many years ago, and he always said that humans were like fire. When someone tried to put them out, they just burned brighter and stronger. Maybe the aliens did not know about human fire. Maybe they were about to learn. Park Jin-woo picked up his cold coffee and drank it all in one big gulp. Then he got ready for the most important meeting in human history. Admiral Kong Hyan-sik stood on the bridge of the Earth's flagship Defiance and watched the last alien ships trying to escape from the solar system. Only 37 alien ships remained out of the 312 that had come to conquer Earth. The alien fleet was broken and running away like scared animals, but Kong Hyan-sik was not going to let them go. The aliens had demanded that Earth surrender. They had killed innocent people to show their power. They had threatened to turn Earth into dust and ash. Now it was time for Earth to give them an answer. All ships. This is Admiral Kong Hyan-sik, he said into his radio. The enemy is retreating, but we are not finished. Follow them and destroy every single ship. Do not let any alien escape. To tell their friends about Earth, the remaining human ships formed up behind the Defiance and began chasing the fleeing alien vessels. The human ships were faster now because Dr. Choi Min-ho's quantum fusion reactors gave them more power than any alien engine. The aliens could not outrun them. One by one, the human ships caught up with the alien ships and destroyed them. The battles were quick because the aliens had no fight left in them. They had seen their mighty fleet destroyed by a species they thought it was primitive. They had watched their soldiers die on the moon and their flagship explode in space, but Admiral Kong Hyan-sik saved the alien command ship for last. He wanted to have a conversation with the alien commander before he destroyed him. The alien commander appeared on the communication screen. His blue skin was pale and his 4 eyes were wide with fear. He was not the same arrogant creature who had demanded Earth's surrender 3 days ago. Human commander, he said, his voice shaking. We surrender. We will leave your system and never return. Please show mercy. Admiral Kang Hyan-sik looked at the alien for a long moment. Then he smiled, but it was not a kind smile. You came to our world and demanded that we become your slaves, he said. You killed our children to show us your power. You said you would turn our planet into dust and ash. Do you remember? Yes, the alien commander said. We made a mistake. We did not know that humans were so dangerous. We thought you were like the other species. We have conquered. That was your first mistake, Admiral Kong Hyan-sik said. Your second mistake was thinking that we would forgive you for killing our people, but we surrender, the alien commander said desperately. According to galactic law, you must accept our surrender. Admiral Kang Hyan-sik laughed, but it was not a happy sound. Galactic law, he said. The same law that says you can enslave entire species, the same law that says you can kill children to make their parents afraid. I do not think we will be following your galactic law. The alien commander realized that he was going to die. He straightened up and tried to look brave. If you kill us, our empire will send 1,000 fleets to destroy you, he said. Admiral Kong Hyan-sik nodded. I am counting on it, he said. We will be ready for them then. He gave the order to fire. The alien command ship exploded in a ball of fire, and the last of the Corvan invasion fleet was destroyed. But Admiral Kong Hyan-sik was not finished yet. He ordered his ships to collect pieces of the destroyed alien vessels and load them into cargo containers. Then he launched the containers toward the center of the galaxy where the Corvan Empire had its capital inside. Each container was a message, written in the alien language. The message was simple. Earth does not surrender. Earth does not bow. Earth does not fear you. You demanded submission. We give you fire. Come and try to take our world. We will be waiting. The containers would take years to reach the alien capital, but when they did, the Corvan Empire would know that a new power had awakened in the galaxy. A power that would not be conquered or enslaved on Earth. People came out of their bunkers and looked up at the sky. The alien ships were gone. The battle was over. Humanity had won, but it was not just a victory in battle. It was something much bigger. Humanity had proven that they were not just another species to be conquered. They were something new and dangerous, a species that got stronger when threatened and more united when attacked. The children who had hidden in bunkers During the battle would grow up to be explorers and warriors. They would build ships and explore the galaxy. They would find other species who had been enslaved by the Corvan Empire, and they would free them. The scientists who had built the weapons would continue to build better weapons. They would prepare for the day when the aliens came back in greater numbers. The soldiers who had fought and died would be remembered as heroes. Their sacrifice had bought humanity time to grow stronger and prepare for the wars to come. Engineer Yunara was already working on new types of nanobots that could repair human ships and make them stronger. Dr. Choi Minho was designing bigger fusion reactors that could power weapons capable of destroying entire alien fleets. But most importantly, the fire that had been lit in human hearts was still burning. It was a fire that said humans would never surrender, would never bow, would never accept slavery or death without a fight. The Corvan Empire had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. They had conquered 1,000 worlds and enslaved 1,000,000 species. They thought they were the strongest force in the universe, but they had never met humans before. Now the galaxy would learn what humans could do when they were angry. The galaxy would learn that some species could not be conquered. Some species grew stronger under pressure. Some species fought with a fury that could burn down empires. The aliens had demanded submission. Earth had answered with inferno. The fire was just beginning to spread in the depths of space. Other alien empires heard the story of what happened to the Corvan invasion fleets. Some of them began to make plans to conquer Earth before the humans got too strong. Others decided that maybe it was better to leave the humans alone, but all of them learned the same lesson. Humanity was no longer just another primitive species on a small blue planet. Humanity was a force that could change the galaxy forever. War for Earth was over, but the war for the galaxy was about to begin, and humanity was ready.